Okay. All right, so the problem says that somebody has built a patio and she wants to put a border around it. And your job is to figure out how wide the border is. So, here's our patio, and we're told how big that is. How big is that patio? It is 25 by 40. And we're just going to build a little thing around it that's got bushes and stuff in it. And the area of just that strip is 504 square feet. Your job is to figure out how wide the patio is. So what is X? Or not patio, the strip. The terraced strip. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you have a thought? Throw out some ideas. Okay, we can find the area of the garden, or whatever that is, right, the patio. So the area of that, 40 times 25, I should know that. Is that 1,000? So the area of that's 1,000, okay, got it. So don't we know then the area of the whole thing? So the area of the whole thing would be 1,504 square feet. Okay, we need an equation. We need an equation out of this. Well, that's the area of the whole thing. What's the length of the whole thing? The length of the whole thing, what would it be? Right?
40 plus 2x.
Exactly. So the length of the whole thing is 40 plus 2x. What's the width of the whole thing? 25 plus 2x. And if we multiply those two together, shouldn't we get 1,504? There's your equation. So, what should we do to figure out what x is? Yeah. FOIL. Yeah, we're going to simplify this equation. It's a quadratic equation, isn't it? It's going to be an x squared, and we need to have it set equal to 0. So let's get it all FOILed out, collect like terms, get it set equal to 0, and then we'll be ready to go. So FOILing is going to give me 1,000 plus 80 plus 50 plus 4x squared equals 1,504. So 4x squared plus 130x minus 504. Is that okay with everybody? What do you want to do with that? What? Quadratic formula? Absolutely. Don't panic about the numbers. You got a calculator, for Pete's sake. It's huge. These are all divisible by 2. So if you wanted to, you could divide it all by 2. You don't have to. It's not going to make a bit of difference. And I'm using my calculator, so I'm not going to mess with it. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
I could smell the popcorn all the way upstairs. Yeah.
Okay? Now, let's all type this in together and see what we come up with. Now remember, that's 2 different answers. So maybe do the +1 first and then the -1. I don't care. But we have there should be 2 separate answers that come out of this. So let's all type it in. And notice that I got a double negative there, so that should end up being a positive under there. Okay, and tell me what you come up with when you type it in. Did you divide by 8? Okay, so you got 3.5 for one of them, Shania? That's what I got. What'd you get for the other one? Andrew, where's your calculator? Okay, we need to bring it every day. Negative 36. So those are the two x values. Wait a second. What about negative 36? Look at the picture. X was the width of the terrace, right? I don't think negative 36 is going to be an answer. So 3.5 feet is the answer to the question. Does that make sense to everybody? All good? All right, let's move on to the next problem then, which is an important one. It is number, I think 58. Yeah. So, this is a real life situation. You got somebody, landlord, has an apartment building. Basic economic concept. He knows if he lowers the price, he'll probably rent more apartments. Right? Just like when you raise the price, you probably rent fewer of them. So he's trying to figure out what he should charge to maximize his income. So you're the landlord. How much money are you making right now? Read the problem. How much money are you making right now? Read the problem.
$300 per month.
Well, you're making $300 per month per apartment. How many apartments are you renting?
800.
800 of them. So right now, isn't your, I'll say, current income, isn't it 800 times 300? Right? Okay, but it's going to change. So future income, well, it's the number sold times the price each, or the number rented times the price each. That's how we did this calculation, right? 800 apartments times $300 each. But we're going to make some changes. What are we going to do? According to the problem, what's going to happen? We're going to lower the rent in increments of how much? $5 increments? And every time we lower the rent by $5, what happens to the number of apartments? It goes up. By how many? Read the problem. Do you have the book open?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to it right now.
How much does it go up by each time? 20? 20? So if we let X be the number of price drops, because that's really what we need to figure out, is how many times do I need to lower my price, then I can calculate my income by taking the number I sell, which right now is 800. But that's going to go up 20 units for every X. So it's going to be 800 plus 20X. Every time I drop my price, I get 20 more. And the price I charge was originally 300, but that's going down. by 5x? Well, by 5 for every x. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, in a income or revenue problem, see how this piece is going up and this piece is going down? In an income or revenue problem, will they ever both go up? Will you ever raise the price and sell more? No. You're going to have one going up and the other one's going to be going down. All right. What do I want to do now? This is my equation. Ultimately, the question we're trying to answer is C. I know they kind of walk you through it, but we're really doing C. What rent will maximize income? Jack? Well, so one option would be to graph it. We're not going to use that option because we don't need it. We will definitely use that option from time to time, but this is, if I FOILed this out, oh, let's just go ahead and FOIL it out. If I FOIL it out. If I FOIL it out, I get y equals negative 100x squared plus 2,000x plus 240,000. Hopefully I did my arithmetic right. What shape is that? It's a parabola. And which way does that parabola open? Down. Well, wait a minute. So I got a parabola that opens down, and I am interested in the maximum. Well, shoot. Won't the maximum just be my vertex? And what's my formula for finding the vertex? Axis of symmetry, x equals negative b over 2a. So my axis of symmetry is x equals negative b over 2a, which for this problem would be negative 2,000 over negative 200, or 10. What's that 10 stand for? That's 10 what? What is the 10? What? Is it $10? No. Is it 10 apartments? No. It's 10 what? Price drops. I'm going to lower my price 10 times. Now the question says, what rent should I be charging? Well, what rent do I charge right now? $300. The math tells me I need to drop it 10 times. Each drop is worth $5. So what rent should I be charging? $250. So the answer to the question is $250. That tells me how many price drops I have. Each price drop is worth $5. So I'm lowering it $50 from the original $300. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, what if the question had said, what is the maximum income? That wasn't the question, but what if the question said, what is the maximum income? What could I do?
I was going to ask it, so it's like $200 per, what was it?
Per apartment, per month. Yeah. How could I find my income, my maximum income? Plug in 10 right here. Because isn't y going to give me my income? So if I just found out that my x-coordinate of my vertex is 10. If I plug that in, whatever this comes out to be, that's my actual income. That's how much money I'll actually make. All right, let's try another one. Next one's exactly the same, only you're selling soda. They use a different word. They don't say income, they say revenue, but that's the same thing. Those are different than profit. Okay, everybody knows the difference. Revenue is just what you bring in, what you take in. If I go out in the hallway and sell markers for $1 each, if I sell 20 markers, I'm gonna make $20. My revenue is gonna be $20, but my profit won't be $20, because I gotta pay for the markers I sell. Okay. Can you set up your equation for the soda drop? Or the soda drop, what's it called, dewdrop, or what do they call it? Sweet drip, the sweet drip company. What is gonna be your equation for revenue? Number sold times price each. That's how you do revenue. Here we go. How many are we selling originally? Andrew, where's your book? You don't have your iPad either? Okay. Let's set ourselves up for success. Let's have our stuff. All right, how many cans am I selling to start with? 26,000. So I'm starting with 26,000. Now, what's happening to that number in this problem? It's decreasing because we're going to raise our price, right? So X this time is the number of price increases. And if the price is going up, the number I sell, I'm going to lose cans. How many cans do I lose every time I raise my price? How many is it? It should tell me. I lose 1,000 every time. So this number of cans I sell is the original 26,000 minus 1,000 X. Now my cans originally cost 50 cents, right? That's going up in increments of what? 5-cent increments. So my price is going up, my sales are going down. Now the first problem we did today, we multiplied out our equation and set it equal to 0. Do I want this to be set equal to 0? Do I want my revenue to be 0? No, I want to maximize my revenue, right? So I'm going to find the vertex again. So let's FOIL, here we go. I should know what some of these numbers are, but I don't, so use my calculator. So I got negative 50x squared plus 800x plus 13,000. Did I do that right? Oh. So that's my equation. That's my equation for my revenue. This is how my revenue is calculated. We want to maximize it. It opens down. We're looking for the vertex again. What's my formula? Negative b over 2a. So negative 800 over negative 108. So to maximize my revenue, I need to raise my price 8 times. So, what's the question? how much should we charge per can? What do you think? Well, how much are we charging to start with? 50. We're going to raise our price 8 times, and every increase is worth 5 cents. So my price should be 90 cents a can. I think that's easy. I'm not sure why some of you are staring at me blankly. Does everybody understand why it's 90? Okay. So that's how much I should be charging per can to maximize my revenue. Last question is, what is the maximum revenue? So now we want to know what is the actual revenue, and how did we say we could do that? Plug it in. Be careful though, what do you plug in? You plug in your X value. Don't be plugging in the price here. You plug in your X value. So that would be negative 50 times 64 plus 800 times 8 plus 1300. Oh shoot, that was supposed to be 13,000, wasn't it? I got 1620, or 16,200, I'm sorry. 16,200. Now just to kind of give you a feeling for what's going on here, in the beginning, we sold 26,000 cans for 50 cents each. So when the whole problem started, my revenue was $13,000. 26,000 times 50 cents each. Am I making more money now? Yep, this is the maximum that I can make, right there. All right, number 62. Is a baseball machine. Sandusky Little League, throwing the baseball, da, 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 da. Find the equation that models the height of the ball. Oh boy. Anybody remember your projectile motion formula? Projectile motion, negative 16t squared plus b sub naught plus s sub naught. That's your basic formula. I think they give you everything you need in the problem. Don't they give you the initial height and the velocity? 48. Stop yawning.
Sorry.
And the initial height is 3.5. So there's the equation. What is the maximum height the baseball will reach, and how many seconds will it take it to get there? Look at your equation. See that negative right there? And that t squared? What does that mean? What do we got?
Negative.
You got a parabola? We want the maximum. We just want the vertex. So negative b over 2a one and a half, right? 1.5 seconds. So when will it reach its maximum height? 1.5 seconds after it's thrown. What will be the maximum height? How will I find that? Plug it in. So in we go. Plug it in. Right here. So negative 16 times 1.5 squared plus 48 times 1.5 plus 3.5 Maximum height is 39.5 feet, if I did that right.
So for T, you just use like the negative b over 2a for vertex.
Yeah, vertex. Anytime you want the vertex of a parabola, negative b over 2a is going to give you the x coordinate. In our case, it's t, but that's the first coordinate of the vertex. As Jack pointed out, we could type that in our calculator and find the maximum, but we don't need to if it's a parabola. When our equations get to be cubic, then yeah, we're going to need our calculators. But as long as it's a parabola, max and min are pretty easy. What I really want you to see is, I want you to be able to determine, sometimes I set them equal to 0 and solve them, and sometimes I find the vertex. If the problem says max or min, then let's be finding the vertex, right? Don't set it equal to 0. All right, let's do one more on this page, number 66. Okay, so we've got a highway going up a mountain. So here's the mountain. And we are told that there's a 6% grade. And what that means is rise over run is 6%. So 6 over 100. All right? And that's actually a pretty steep grade. It doesn't seem like it should be, but you try walking up that, or if you're driving up that, you'll feel your car shift. That's a pretty steep grade. All right, so the question is this. Find the slope. That's easy. The slope is 6 over 100. Rise over run. So 0.06. That's your slope. If what is the horizontal distance required, so on this road, I'm going to redraw a triangle here, on this same road, what is the horizontal distance required to climb 250 feet? Any thought on how we would set that up? There are options. What occurs to you? Like if you're on a desert island, you're going to be eaten by cannibals if you don't come up with something. What would you come up with? Absolutely. Beautiful, Caroline. Absolutely. Our proportion would be 6 over 100, or one example of a proportion, would be 6 over 100 equals 250 over x. Does that make sense to everybody? And then we just solve it. I got 4,166.67 feet. And then the next one is exactly the same, except, and it's the same type of problem, except what little wrinkle did they throw in? Do you see it? For that last part of that problem? $7 miles. Just make sure you recognize that if you use 7, your answer is going to come out in miles. Oh, the question says how many feet of vertical change. So what's your thought? We got this road, same road, but this time we want to know how many feet of vertical change if we're going 7 miles, if the horizontal change is 7 miles. We can go ahead and do 6 over 100 equals x over 7. That's fine. That's totally fine. So 100x equals 42. So 0.42 miles. change that to feet. Multiply it by 5,280. So 0.42 times 5280 would be 2217.6 feet. And that's how they wanted the answer in feet. You all good with that?
What was it, 5,080?
5,280. That's how many feet are in a mile. By the way, they tell you that in the problem.
I can't find the bottom. I can't get it.
Well, it's now not November, we need to get our book, okay? All right, so, by the way, you got excellent resource right here for the book. All right, so that's it for that section. That homework will be due Tuesday. So the 2-1 homework is due Tuesday. Remember, some of your packets got stapled wrong because I fed the papers in wrong. So make sure you're doing the 2-1 homework. All right, so we'll go to lunch now, and then we'll come back. We're going to lunch now. I need you back at 12:30, people, 12:30. And you guys, if you're going somewhere, sign out, please.